panga mtunzi tiende pamozi tonse a Zambia mtima umozi chikondi chatu palibe kusiyana ndife amozi tieni tipange tiko latu.
Good morning, Zambians. Southern Africa has a new definition for selective morality. It's when a president condemns bloodshed on Monday, then flies out on Tuesday to shake hands with the men who caused it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the curious diplomacy of Hakainde Hichilema, who has just managed to do what only African leaders can do: denounce a dictatorship while still applying for partnership. Yes, Zambia's top Democrat-in-chief just called out the violence in Tanzania, the same violence that left hundreds dead and opposition figures rotting in cells. And yet, in the same breath, he pledged to keep economic cooperation flowing smoothly under the Tanzanian regime. In Africa, we call that condemn and cooperate. The political version of, I hate what you are doing, but please pass me the business contract.
I lost many elections. I had the motivation to go in the streets when we felt that we did not get treated properly during elections. I was always the first one to say, no one goes in the streets. No one. Those who supported us genuinely complained, particularly two elections, that I took the responsibility and the leadership that I cannot send my men and women, citizens of Zambia, in the streets to damage property, to kill somebody, because that blood will be on my hands. And I said, we will use democratic processes. And we did. And we were patient. Today we've been privileged to lead our country. And we inherited a country which is peaceful. It's our duty to keep our country peaceful and hand it to those who come after us in peace. That's my call to my brothers and sisters in Tanzania. Zambians are with you. They understand the challenges, the pain, the opportunities as well, which are many. Take the side of opportunities, and everything will be okay over time. Remember, God this time is the best. God this time is the best. When we hear that sound, that indication of God's time, you don't have to listen hard. It comes simple and straight. So I want to wish, behalf of Zambia, behalf of SADC, if I may speak on behalf of my colleagues. I know they are here, they may speak. And other regional bodies, yes, continent. I have no right to speak for the continent, but it's an obligation that let's place a premium on peace, security, stability. And then the rest will be focused on creating opportunities for our people, including young people, the Gen Zs. The only way we can take care of them is to send them to school, give them skills, give them opportunities for jobs, for business, and indeed others. Madam President, once more congratulations, and we wish you well as you lead all the Tanzanians, including those who didn't vote for you. Find space, find systems to reach out to them. But you have our best wishes, and we look forward to cooperating with you. We in Zambia are doing a lot of work together with Tanzania.
Let's rewind the tape. Tanzania's election last week looked less like democracy and more like an expensive theater production. 97.66% victory for President Samia Suluhu Hassan in an election where opposition leaders were either jailed, banned, or conveniently disappeared. Protesters filled the streets, the army filled the mosques. Even the internet took a beating, shut down faster than a journalist at a Chinese Communist Party rally. And while blood still soaked the streets of Dar es Salaam, in comes Hichilema, smiling and waving, sitting politely at the inauguration of Madam Dictator, clapping like he didn't just read the casualty figures. He condemned the violence, sure, but then assured the world that Zambia remains committed to strengthening economic cooperation with Tanzania. Translation: we disapprove your killings, but let's still build the railway. This is where Africa's diplomacy becomes pure comedy. How do you condemn a regime while still partnering with it? It's like telling a crocodile, stop eating people, while handing it a bib. President Hichilema said peace and stability must be protected at all costs. But let's be honest, the only peace dictators protect is the kind enforced with bullets. They don't want peace, they want silence. And the silence of African leaders is their loudest endorsement. Of course, Zambia and Tanzania share deep trade ties, from the Tazara railway to fuel pipelines. And that's precisely why this story matters. Economic cooperation is vital, yes, but cooperation without conscience is complicity. You can't build trade routes on the bones of protesters and call it regional progress. That's not diplomacy. That's stomach politics with an MBA. Because, make no mistake, this is politics of the stomach, where moral principles are traded for lunch and ethics are negotiable if the fuel flows smoothly. But here's the good news. It's not too late for Hichilema to ditch politics of the stomach, to remember the ideals that carried him into power. He can still choose to be a leader who stands for democracy, not just the one who attends its funerals. Zambia looked up to Hichilema as the man who would break the curse, the new African statesman who wouldn't bow to tyranny next door. But now the question is, can he still live up to that image, or has the new dawn dimmed under the fluorescent lights of regional business deals? In Tanzania, they have joined the elite club of African regimes that win 97% of the votes but lose 100% of their soul. It's a familiar story. Elections turned into coronations, constitutions rewritten like shopping lists, and the people told to celebrate their own oppression. But the saddest part is not that Tanzania fell. It's that its neighbors watched and nodded, pretending not to see the blood stains on the handshake. In the end, this isn't just about Tanzania. It's about how SADC keeps endorsing tyranny and calling it stability. It's about leaders like Hichilema, men who once preached accountability, now standing shoulder to shoulder with autocrats for regional harmony. And it's about us, the citizens, who must finally ask, how long will Africa keep mistaking cowardice for diplomacy? If Zambia's president truly wants to lead Africa into a new era, then he must remember, trade deals can wait, but moral courage cannot. Hichilema is the torchbearer of democracy in Africa. He can condemn tyranny all he wants, but until he stops feeding it, his words are just speeches written on imported paper. So, Mr. President, it's not too late. Walk away from the politics of the stomach and back into the politics of principle, because the stomach will always be hungry, but history remembers who stood tall when everyone else bowed. Ladies and gentlemen, if you believe Africa needs leaders who value truth over trade, smash that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment below. Was Hichilema being diplomatic or just doing damage control with a full plate? At Zambian Files, we don't sugarcoat politics. We roast it until the hypocrisy burns off. Stay tuned, stay awake, and remember, the revolution may not be televised, but it will definitely.
za Mungu